one of the most talked about and hottest selling books of the year is this one, Lauren Bacall, by myself. And justly so. It's a touching, candid memoir, and I'm delighted to say its author is my next guest. Would you welcome a very special woman, Lauren Bacall. I've never seen someone... She's the best.
Oh, Barbara.
No,
I don't know what to do.
Look at all the color you brought to my show here.
How about that?
Looks like the flag of an emerging nation, doesn't it? Purple, what is that, shocking pink and Kelly green.
Mm-hmm. And turquoise and gold.
Lauren Bacall sitting right next to me.
Isn't it thrilling?
I just said, yes it is. I just said to Barbara, isn't it interesting that she is the only actress I know who has a private name in private and another first name for the public.
I'm the only one I know that has that.
I don't know anybody else.
I'm not crazy about
but
that,
everybody
you know.
calls you by your private name.
Yes.
They call you Betty.
I know it, I know it. It's very curious because many of my friends, actresses, who have changed their names, and they are called by their stage names, but not me.
Why didn't Lauren take with your friends?
Well, look at me. I mean, do I look like a Lauren? I don't sound, I mean, my friends know that it's I could never answer to it. I remember when Howard first told me that that was to be my first name. My mother and I were in California, and we went to the market, and she started to call me Lauren. And of course, I didn't answer. She was trying it out, you see. She was trying to get used to it, and I couldn't get used to it, and she could. I mean, none of us ever could.
Did Howard Hawks ever tell you how he selected? Did he just look at you and go, Lauren?
No, no, Howard never did that.
No.
He never looked at me ever and went like that about anything. But he just decided that it went well with Bacall. And actually, I suppose, it does. I mean, the names, too, do go well together. Although I think that if I kept it Betty, which is a name I'm not crazy about, hopefully the same thing would have happened. I don't know.
You admit in the book that much of your acting image, much of your look, your voice, is not yours originally. It was all a trained thing by Howard.
No, it was not all a trained thing.
Howard, your look, which I've always loved.
The look was not a trained thing at all. The look was a happy accident because I was a nervous wreck, which I have been all my life and will always be. And I used to shake a lot. And when I was tested for the first time for the contract with Howard, of course, I was, you know, dead silence. I was like this. And I gradually began to learn that by holding my head down a bit and looking up, I was able to hold it steady. And that became the look.
Lucky for us.
I mean, there was no plan at all.
And you didn't have a high, squeaky voice. You had...
No, I mean, you cannot suddenly have a low voice if you don't have one.
How'd you do it?
Howard, I always had a low voice. But what Howard wanted was, he wanted me always in dramatic scenes, you know, one's voice tends to rise if you get excited. If you notice, you can sound like a fishwife, a little crazy. And he wanted it to always stay low, no matter what. And so that's why I read aloud. No, I read aloud and kept my voice in a low register so that no matter how hysterical I got, I still was talking down there.
Speaking of voice, one of the great trivia questions in any game about motion pictures is, whose voice was it? Whose singing voice was your voice in To Have or Have Not? Don't. No, I've always read...
Yes, Andy Williams. No.
Andy Williams.
Andy...
That's true that he sang, Maybe It Happened This Way.
He didn't do the... No, he did not do the whole thing.
I've lost more trivia.
No, I think... No, I'll tell you why he was called in. I mean, I pre-recorded that song more than once, I can tell you, and they finally put it all together and it made it sound passable. But I think there were a couple of high notes that didn't sound terrific.
So Andy came in and did that?
And I think Andy, who was then kind of a soprano.
Oh, that's good.
Is it true that you recorded Moon River and he got the credit for that?
If only.
He could have had your whole life.
Oh, I would have loved it. No, I would have
How does it feel to have your life #1 bestseller in America, Lord? That must be a strange feeling. Look, they love my life.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I've thought of that. I've thought, you know, when people say that they like my book, I say, you like my life. It is, I guess it's true in a way. I haven't analyzed it that much. It feels wonderful to have a bestseller, and I think it's a combination of many things.
The media interviews, though, have dwarfed all the wonderful content of your book by asking you constantly about relationship with Mr. Bogart and Mr. Sinatra and your father. That seems to have intrigued the media the most right away.
Well, I mean, those are obvious things, aren't they? I mean, Bogey certainly is the most valid one of the three, if you'll pardon my saying so.
Right.
He certainly had a tremendous influence on my life, and always will have. I mean, we had 2 children, grown children now.
Strong men in your life.
And, yes.
Tough men in your life.
No, not tough.
I left out Mr. Robards.
Jason had played a much bigger part in my life and still does than Frank ever did or will, or that my father ever did, certainly.
But you appeared to pick, to be involved with
trouble. I love trouble.
No, I mean tough guys who was image.
No, but they were, I mean, Bogey was not tough at all. He was strong, he had tremendous character, but he was not a tough man. He was complicated. But I find most people who are interesting are complicated.
The stories I love
to be
best.
bored to death.
Right. The stories I love best about you as you standing out in front of Sardi's, trying to meet stars and producers.
Not stars as much as producers. I wanted to get a part in a play.
Yeah, but you chased Betty Davis around enough trying to meet her.
No, I didn't ship. Merv, pull yourself together.
All right.
About this book. You have to reread it slowly.
Did you not wait to see Betty Davis and finally got invited up to her suite, and when you got to meet her, you couldn't speak?
That's true.
That's Fanish.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Oh, I adored her. I mean, she was my movie idol. But I was able to meet her because one of my uncles was a very good friend of her kind of secretary, companion, everything, Robin Byron, who is married to a man called Arthur Byron. But I don't know if you've ever heard of him. But
it's difficult to see you now as a legend in motion pictures and the stage. No. Think of you standing out in front of Sardi's trying to meet producers. And
well, I mean, I did the pounding of the pavements and the going into the offices, and I just thought, you know, there were always hundreds of us always looking for jobs and trying to be noticed, trying to get into the inner office and get an audition for a show. And I thought, well, I've got to make somebody pay attention and recognize me so that I'm not just another face in an office, you know, to have the door slammed in my face.
So how'd you do it?
I just grabbed them. You know, well, I was selling actors' cues, which was very fortunate for me. Leo Scholl, who published it then, and who now publishes a thing called Show Business, allowed me, I prevailed upon him to allow me to do it, to sell the actors' cues outside of Sardi's. And he said, oh, all right, because I was just as crazy then as I am now. And that's how it all happened. I mean, that's how some things happened. That's how I met Max Gordon, who was responsible for the first speaking part I ever had in a play.
But it was really that cover of Vogue.
No, it was the cover of Harper's Bazaar.
Cover of Harper's Bazaar. I can't get all those ladies' magazines together. It was a cover, though, that cover shot of you.
Yes, it was a cover.
That really brought you to Hollywood, right?
Sorry about all of this.
Yeah, picking on me. Let me take a break and I'll get her whole life straightened out here in 1 minute. Now listen to me. Subaru four-wheel drive Brat. Fun on or off the road. Just a flick of a lever switches the Brat front-wheel drive to four-wheel drive. At Subaru, we are changing the face of four-wheel drive. Now, Barbara and I have had a little conversation in this last commercial, and we've decided this.
Yeah, what?
Are you embarrassed at all by telling so much of your life? Did you leave certain private things? Did you keep a piece for yourself? Or did you really write it all? And
No.
why did you do it?
Well, I certainly did not write it all. I would never write it all.
Right.
I would always keep something for myself because I think that there are certain things that belong to me that I just would not share with anyone. I wrote it because it came along at a time in my life that I really was at odds with myself and with work. The work wasn't terrific, and I was asked to do it and asked to write my whole life, and I thought, well, maybe it's a good time to kind of reassess my life and to think it all through again and do it and see if I can do it. I've always wanted to see if I could do what I've never done before. And also, I mean, as I was doing it, I don't know if you've been aware of it, but certainly for the last many years, there have been many books written about Bogey. There have been some books written about Bogey and me. And as a matter of fact, there's a CBS, supposedly, I understand, is going to do a television movie now that is based on Bogey's life, supposedly, in which I appear and my children appear. It's totally unauthorized. It has nothing to do with my book.
Well, they can't do it then, can they?
Well, it seems that they can. I don't know. I mean, I'm totally against it, and I object to it. But I don't think anyone seems to care about that. They make up the dialogue, they use real names, and I don't know how they can do that. I don't know how anyone has the right to do that.
I mean, you do, one of the reasons that this book is, I mean, first of all, it's about you, and that's terrific. But also, you do reveal a lot. You talk about the men you rejected, and the men who rejected you, and the relationships that didn't work out.
Yeah.
And it's very open. Now, when I came out, Merv said, "Are you getting married?" And I immediately thought, I can't, you know, and yet, and you seem very extroverted, but knowing you, I know that, you know, there's a lot of shyness in And I wonder what it took to say, okay, I'm going to cough that up, and I'm going to name the names and do the things. And
Well, you see, when you write it, you're writing it alone. And so it's just me and a pad of paper, so it's much easier to put it down then. It's all very quietly done. When I finally turned in the manuscript, of course, I suddenly thought, oh, God, how, you know, suddenly people are going to be able to pick it up, thumb through it. If they don't like what they see, they're going to put it down and walk away. Or they may read it, and they'll know more about me than I ever intended anyone to know. But I really did want to get the record straight about many things because of the misinformation that there has been.
You really were so young when you were thrown up against those powerhouse, powerhouse fellas out in Los Angeles.
Yes, but
when you were
you're young,
19,
you figure you can do anything, you know?
You were 19 when your romance started with Mr. Bogart.
Yeah.
And he was 20 years...
25.
25 years your senior.
Yeah, well, but you see, you can do anything when you're 19. You believe that you can. It never occurs to you that you cannot accomplish what you want to, or that you cannot have what you want. And of course, at 19, you'll do anything to get it. I'll still do anything to get it. Actually. But I think that it is, there comes a time in your life, I mean, I really have been damn fed up with, for the last 22 years since Bogey's death, all of this stuff, you know, that has been printed that I mean, people have
the myths.
Almost made livings out of that.
Right.
And I resent it. I realize that actors are, in a way, second-class citizens because we seem to relinquish our privacy unbeknownst to us. I mean, at the time that we decide to become actors, we don't sign a piece of paper saying we are no longer private citizens. And anyone has the right to write anything they choose to about us. But it seems we have no recourse, and as I'm the only one that really knows what happened in my life, in that period of my life, no one can add to this. No one can enlarge upon what I have written.
Well, I promise you, if you pick it up and you start it, you won't put it down.
Yeah.
Lauren Bacall, by myself. Her life is #1. We'll be back. Fasten your seatbelt. The woman about to join us is truly one of the most gifted, one of the most energetic entertainers this business has ever known. She's warmly known as the ambassador of love and Pearlie Mae, if you want to call her. Here's the irrepressible Pearl Bailey.
It's so nice to have you in New York where you belong. You know you're looking swell, Mervyn. Well, I can tell. Mervyn, look at you glowing. This man is crowing. Yes, you are going strong, but I feel this room swinging, the band's playing one of my old favorite songs from way back when. Oh, here's my rap fellas, and me an empty lap fellas. Cause the Mervyn will never go away. I think the name is Marvin. Mervyn never go away. Lauren, my dear, you can't go away. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Barbara, you certainly know.
Listen, no, Mervyn.
Thank you, Pearl. Isn't that nice? Look at this group.
Listen, Mervyn.
Get a load of Betty Coed.
Listen, where did you get such an op and such a newscast and
Is
then
this
you don't
classy,
add
huh?
me to it?
And a college student.
You better believe it.
You wouldn't dare to wear that on campus. Don't fool with me, huh?
She dare anything.
If I'd wear this, darling, I would get an A.
Would you? How you doing? Did you pass your tests?
Yes, my test went over almost as well as Lauren's book.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, you have made you some change on that book.
I hope so.
Yeah. In fact, I tell you the truth, I just bought it yesterday.
Did you?
Yes, I bought it yesterday.
Thank you.
I'm going to absorb it, too.
Slowly.
Of course, I hope you're going to write a sequel.
I have to live it first.
Barbara, you're going to write one.
Never.
No, she won't write one, no.
Oh.
She's too shy to tell all those wonderful things. You
I
know?
just want to ask the questions. I don't want to answer them.
Hi, we're the ones who don't want to answer.
Is it going well, Pearl?
Yes,
Are you going to
yes.
stay there till you get your diploma?
Yes, in 1981.
1981?
Well, I'm a...
That's 2 years. That's nothing.
Yes, I mean, and women don't like being called like that man anymore, so I'm an upper fresh person.
You're a fresh woman?
And Barbara promised me something.
What?
You told me you were going to do a big...
I was.
story.
When we met, I said, I'm going to come down and do a story on you, and I went back and told our producers, and they told me there had just been one, that there had just been a story done on you
But
in the
nobody
news.
does a story like Barbara Walters.
That's true.
Do you know your... Do you know your school song?
Huh?
Do you know your school song yet?
Well,
Have you learned to cheer?
well, my basketball team is we're the Hoyas, you know. And I had the
Hoya?
Hoya, H-O-Y-A. And I had the pom-poms at the time, and I was going with the thing at the basketball. Oh, we were in the semifinals this
Really?
time. And I went to town, honey. I Hoya'd in the day, honey. I Ben Gate at night. You better...
Oh, you get a lot of aches and pains,
Oh,
huh?
no, oh, don't bring it up.
Really?
No, don't bring it up.
What do the kids think of you there?
You know what's so beautiful? The children, they don't question anything. When children find out you're real and you mean business, they never send. It's always Pearl. And we study together. We sit on the grass together. You know, I get the
Sit on
ants. Yeah, I get the ants. And we study.
Yeah.
We worry about our finals. In fact, I'm in my finals now. And for you, Merv, anything.
Yes, thank you.
I had left the finals.
Have they
for you.
ever offered to get you a blind date?
Huh?
You're getting deaf all of a sudden, bro. I said, did they?
You
See
went
how
to
fast
it.
she
You
was?
had Louis listening.
Yeah, it was Louis.
No, but I'll tell you what's so beautiful about the children on the campus. As I said, we live together. I also have 3 that eat with me every day. There's Avram Greenberg from Oklahoma.
Right.
And I got the Nederlander boy, David. I was with him when it was bar mitzvah, so he eats with me. And a girl from Pittsburgh. And I go leave class. I'm full student, and I go home, and I cook for them. Most of the time, it's chicken soup.
I'm going to do a commercial, but before I do, Lauren Bacall has to leave us. She has a very important appointment, but thank you a million for coming by and talking.
Thank you. And I want to see you back in New York, Merv.
Thank you. Thank you, Betty.